morning, everybody, and welcome to David Christopher's. I'm Jen.
I'm David.
And we actually remembered to plug our receiver for our microphones in today. So I don't know if you even noticed last week, I did put a little note in the description. We had just gotten back from 3 weeks of being out of town. And then before that, we took a little bit of a break from the videos. And we got back, we were all out of sorts. We wore the microphones. We had the receiver attached to the camera. But you actually have to plug it in for it to work. So I was thankful we had any audio at all. It was basically just whatever the camera could pick up, which was not too bad.
No, it wasn't.
So we're back today with another edition of creativity and making of some sort. And I see that David has a white grapevine wreath. Now we have these arrive white, right?
Yeah, we get them painted white.
Yeah, but you can paint your own. If you do have a grapevine wreath, you can paint it whatever color that you want. This particular one is just going to be white because David informed me yesterday that we are going to go a little fishy. I don't know if you want to call it a fishy wreath, though. That sounds...
I'm thinking it's more beachy.
beachy, coastal sort of wreath. So I see that you have some things already pulled for this. And it looks like you have a little bit of a mixture of some sparkly with also some things that aren't as sparkly. So yeah, that should be really fun. Okay, well, without further ado, I guess you all are ready for us to get started.
We're going to talk about the things you get stuck in your hair.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to throw up that picture.
Which is a normal thing because Jen's always getting something stuck in her hair. And we're always talking about that. But we have proof today because Jen has a picture.
So... yes, like David said, this morning even, I was going to wear a dress, and I put it over my head, and the zipper got stuck in my hair, and I was like, ah, and he's used to coming to my rescue, so he runs over, and he's like, wait, so he gets it undone from the zipper, and I put the dress on. Well, it had some kind of, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like some sort of unknown greasy spot, and I was like, okay, I can't wear that today. I'm going to have to wear something else. So I get to the place where I get my oil changed and I walk in. Now granted, I have a bag with my computer, I have my purse, I have my Stanley cup with my water, I also have a large unsweet tea from Chick-fil-A.
It's quite the caravan going anywhere.
And I also had my Chick-fil-A bag because I was like, hey, I haven't had Chick-fil-A breakfast since we've been back from our trip. And I wanted an egg white grill. So that's what I got. And so I'm standing at the counter with all this stuff. And I didn't even get to tell David this part. But the sweet lady working there, she was like, and I said, yes. And she was like, and I'm looking behind me. I'm like, what is happening? She's like, your hair. And I reach over here because my hair was stuck under my bag strap. She was like, other side. And I was like, what is in my hair? And I reach and grab this long. I'll show you the picture.
It looked like a shipping label.
Yes, a sticker from my carry-out bag from Chick-fil-A because I did the app. And so they put a sticker on it that says, Carry Out Jen. And it had gotten stuck in my hair. She was like, I didn't want to not tell you. And I said, no, I'm so glad you told me because I had no idea that it was hanging out over there.
Like a 4x5 label.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just a little, extra for you today that I get all kinds. My hair is like a magnet.
Well, we mention it sometimes, but today was extra funny because it was quite large. It wasn't like a little thing stuck in your hair.
No, I have, and I've also closed my hair in the door of my car. I have gotten the vacuum cleaner at the car wash stuck in, like it, I don't know, but like it has sucked my hair in. And it almost happened again today because I did take my car through the car wash and the vacuum because it had been a while.
And then there was, I think there was a time where you got your curling iron stuck on your hair. No?
I'm not curling iron.
Or something hair related was stuck in your hair. Hairbrush or something.
Probably a brush or something. I don't know. It's you just never know. It's crazy. My hair is very, I guess I would call it, it's coarse and wavy and it just attracts everything. around it. Like I've gotten this kind of stuff. Like I could probably put this on my head and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna stay. So it's just like a magnet. But anyway, I could put one of these fish in. I could make me a little.
I'm sure I could make one of those stick in your hair.
I could make me a little bow.
It's not hard.
See, look, yeah, there it is. So I could just walk around like this. But yeah, see, it just, anyway, you don't care about all that, but we tell you anyway. So let's get started with the beautiful wreath, and hopefully you will learn some amazing tips, and you might want to make your own.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using some of this foam, like a button leaf, like a large button leaf. And it's just have a great kind of a beachy feel to me. You can bend these out as much or as little as you want to, but those are just a great option for beach, lake house, you know, even if you just have a lot of whitewashed things in your house, these things work great, and they're nice and wired, so very easy to use. But we're going to try and start with our shape here. We're going to let that kind of curve around toward the bottom. We're going to use some a little higher up. So we're just going to elongate. This is an 18-inch grapevine base. I think last week we used a 24-inch, so this is a little bit smaller. And we're just really making this side of it a little bit longer.
We did have several people last week wanting to purchase the wreath that you made in that video. Just so everybody knows, you can purchase those if you want to message us on social media to get like a shipping price. Then we can let you know what it would cost to ship, because shipping varies depending on where you live. And we only charge you what the shipping companies charge us. So we don't want to charge everybody the same for that. But we can get you a quote on any of these wreaths that we make.
We can. But this looks kind of like an underwater kelp stem or something to me, just which we got to see some strange ocean life and some tide pools while we were in Berwick-Upon-Tweed.
Berwick-Upon-Tweed.
Upon-Tweed, sorry. Not Newcastle upon Tyne. It's two different places.
Berwick was one of my favorite places of our whole, or I think they call it more like Berwick. W is not really pronounced. But it was one of my favorite places that we visited. I mean, other in England. Well, and it's kind of on the...
It's really close to the border of Scotland and England.
But Scotland felt like home to me. And I actually wore my necklace today. See if I can show everybody my necklace that I wore today. So I have Scottish heritage we have traced back to the MacLeod clan, and we went to Dunvegan Castle, and I got this necklace that has this little flower from the garden made inside of it, and I thought that would be a great little souvenir from Scotland for me.
It's a snowdrop.
A snowdrop, yes, that's what's inside. See if you can see it. I don't know how this is looking.
It's hard to see a little bit. I mean, it's...
Yes.
But we're using this gumdrop eucalyptus now, and we're just adding a little bit just to fill in between this foam leaf, and keeping this greenish color, this light green, going.
So is this wreath sort of inspired by Cockloburn Beach?
Maybe.
Not really.
Maybe a little bit. We could say that. Sure. I mean, this does remind me of some of the stuff I kind of saw in some of the tide pools, all the vegetation that was underwater that got trapped and things.
Yes.
And there was a lot of that, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but there was a lot of it. So you could do this a couple of different ways. Like right now, we really haven't used any glitter, so you don't have to if you don't want to. I know some people are opposed to it at other times of the year other than Christmas, but that's really up to you. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like both ways. So first we're just going to do our naturals, or faux naturals. I need the other flowers. And then we'll show you what it looks like with the sparkly in it. So we're just giving that pink, really wispy, pompous grass.
Do you need this?
Grassy.
Do you need the ribbon?
I do.
What about the linen?
No.
No. Okay. How about?
No, that's
Okay.
That's a sample.
Okay.
I don't need it.
You don't need this fish.
We're sold out of them.
Okay.
I had to adjust my plan slightly because of we try to mostly use things that we have in stock. Sometimes it's something that we're getting back in stock, or we got orders already placed from wholesale customers that have things pre-ordered. I don't use the things that we're already sold out or close to sold out of. Try not to anyway. So then we're going to be able to use a little bit of this peachy yellow rose. And it's just very summery, very light. It's kind of like sherbet. What it makes me think of, anyway.
Makes me think of when I was pregnant. Remember all the sherbet ice cream I would eat with 7-Up on top of it?
Yes. It's quite a bit of that.
With my first son.
And then we've got this thistle branch. I'm going to cut this up into 3 different pieces. So we've got a few different size pieces here. I will say one thing about painted grapevines is they're a little more difficult to use than regular grapevines, but it's not that drastic a difference. It's just a little harder to get things inside of them sometimes. So we could, stick a couple of these larger florals in there, or because if you want to keep it, just extremely natural, that's really what I would do. Is I'd probably go with something like that in our wreath. But we're going to add our ocean ribbon, our embroidered ocean ribbon that's got little clamshells and starfish and some coral in it. I'll leave just a little bit of length here so that this hangs down. And we're just going to tie a couple of loops. We don't need a lot.
I do have bow tying videos that are more in depth if you need help on how to tie a bow.
So we're just going to do 2 loops on either side. And bring my ribbon scissors. Chew them in half. And then we're going to wire that. Twist that as tight as we can. And then we can layer that in. But I think I'm going to add just a little bit of this coral aqua plaid on top of it, just because it's got a little bit of that pinkish coral color. And we've got that 4-inch ribbon. So I think if we do this 2.5-inch ribbon on top of it, we'll do a couple of smaller loops. Good thing I don't need a lot, because I didn't have a lot.
And this is just floral wire.
Yeah, this is just a light gauge, maybe a 24, 26 gauge, something along those lines. And we'll just stack that and tie it, rather than trying to tie two at the same time. Just stack them and tie them. I'll cut this little piece off here if I can.
Gonna have to get you some ribbon scissors to keep in this area.
In this location.
Yes.
So then we'll go around our wreath and wire that on. I can get my hands back there. Okay, so we've got our bow in. We're gonna fold our ribbon and cut. So it's got these tails in it, like tuxedo tails, very formal. Not everybody does it. Some people, you know, cut them at an angle. Some people fold and cut and do different things. This is just force of habit for me. I just always liked it because it seemed very symmetrical. So now we've got our bow in there, and like I said, you could, you know, use this if you wanted to keep it very natural, but we are going to add just a little bit of some glittery fish into our wreath here. So I'm going to add a couple of other glittery items like this coral glittered fern. We'll get a little bit of this in it. And this is great because it just looks like coral.
As much as I love the beach, I am sort of thankful we did not plan a beach trip this summer. I don't know if any of you have been following the news, but there have been a number of shark spottings, and actually a young lady who got her hand, I think, and part of her leg bitten off by a shark. Thankfully, she was rescued and she's in the hospital making a recovery. But there have been a lot of sharks where the beach that we normally would visit. Where we would usually go toward the
Florida-Alabama line, very close to that area.
And a lot of really bad riptide currents. There have been several drownings at the beach this year. Lots of double red flag days.
Yeah. And those are days you don't go in the water.
No. A friend of mine, I did not know this, but she said you can get a $500 fine for just putting your toes at the edge of the water during those double red flags, which makes sense because it's hard for the people that are patrolling to know, like, oh, are they going in? Or are they not going? Like, what are they doing? It's hard for them to know you're just sort of walking along, getting your feet wet versus when are you going to try to go out in there? So
I didn't know that wave was going to roll up this close to my feet.
Yes. So it's pretty serious. I know when we take our kids, even now, but especially when they were little, we just stayed on their heels the entire time. Typically, It always stressed David out because It's like I can't relax at the beach. Too worried about the kids.
They're either trying to get to the water, or they're getting jellyfish stung, or they've got, their sand, and they played in the sand, and then they're sunburned, or they're
chafing,
whatever. And it's it's fun for like half a day, and then it's like, why did we do this?
It does get better as they get older, but
I know there's not a lot of these left, but I think we've got a few dozen in the retail store. So I'm going to use this because I like this blue-green with this netting.
What are they called?
I don't remember.
The tag says.
I already cut the tag off.
Oh, you mean you don't have the tag with you?
Well, I cut it off. I don't know where it fell to the ground. Beaded sheer ocean leaf spray.
Okay. If you check out the description, I will have a link with all the items used in today's video, so you don't have to search our website for each individual thing.
Just to get a little more blue up in the top. There we go. And then what we have to do now is figure out a way to get our fish in our wreath. So I'm going to use one of the stems that I cut off. I think this one came off of the rose. And since this fish is styrofoam, I'm just going to, give him a little stake there. And then cut off his hanger.
Cute.
So now he can be just kind of floating along there.
Do you remember when the kids had goldfish? One of them died and they wanted to have a funeral.
I do, yeah. I remember the goldfish funeral. That was weird.
And I said, we put the fish in the freezer because we were going to bury it the next day because it was nighttime when we found it floating upside down. And our oldest was probably 7, our youngest was 3. And the next day I said, go get the fish from the freezer. And our youngest, who was 3, walked out into the backyard with a frozen tilapia.
That I think also got buried.
Yes. I think he felt like it deserved a proper funeral as well. So
it was a very solemn occasion.
It was. Oh. So we buried a goldfish and a tilapia that day.
Those people that dig up that yard and find those bones in 1,000 years are going to be like, what happened here? Why were they burying these weird fish? That's how they think there's like an ocean in Arizona at some point, is because somebody, froze 1,000 fish and ended up burying them.
Well, I don't think the tilapia had any bones, so it probably rotted fairly quickly in the Alabama heat.
That could be. Get us that.
Sorry, you know us. We always have stories to go along with.
Lots of stories. So we'll just get a couple of these fish in here. I'm going to see if I can get... This is where it gets a little bit trickier. Trying to get something like on top of the bow is going to be a little bit more complicated, but I think we can find a way to make that happen. Cut a little bit of this off. So
and what stems are you using to?
Just stems that I cut other things off of earlier. So this is like one of the, I don't know, something. It's one of these stems.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was that. So see, you can use pretty much every piece.
Try to, yeah. So we'll just get a little glue here and see if we can find the wreath, because you really want to get that into the wreath itself. There we go. Let's see.
Would you be surprised if I said, I think I'm taking this one home?
I would not. I'm surprised the last one didn't go home with you. We were out of time or something. I don't know. And then just to get a little bit more of this kind of sherbety color in here, I'm going to add a couple more roses. And I'm going to stick those kind of on top of my bow also. So as long as you can stick it into the actual wreath and then bend it onto the bow or inside the bow, that's the preferred way to do it to me, because I don't want to just glue anything directly to my bow, because it doesn't usually stay that great. But that's just me, maybe not, I don't know. But you can just move some of this stuff around because our ribbon is wide enough that it really shows without having to be front and center all the time.
What were you saying about it?
Oh, I don't remember.
You said, and we've got
our beach wreath, I think, fixed up here. So just bringing a little bit of our floral back around in front of our bow, because your bow sometimes has so much volume to it visually because of the width of it that I'll sometimes put things on top of it just to make sure that you see all the other things. So you can just kind of readjust some things once you get to that point.
very nice. I think we'll call this our Under the Sea wreath. How about that?
Sounds good.